Corporate strategy is a strategy that firms use to compete across multiple businesses. It's relevant for two groups of firms. First, for multi-business firms, but also for single business firms that are thinking of expanding into a new business, after which they would become a multi-business firm. What are those multi-business firms now? Let's look at some examples. The first example is Berkshire Hathaway, which is run by Warren Buffett, who you may know. What's interesting about this company is that it's active in multiple businesses. I've shown you here three. The first one is diamonds. So you can go to Berkshire Hathaway to buy a diamond ring. You can also buy tomato ketchup from them. And lastly, you can even rent an airplane from them. The next example is LVMH, which is originally a French company. Again, this company is active in multiple businesses. The first picture shows some of their watches that they're selling. They also sell fashionable handbags. The brand you may know is Louis Vuitton, and the LV in LVMH actually stands for Louis Vuitton. And lastly, they also sell champagne. The brand here is Moet & Chandon, and the M in LVMH stands for Moet. The third example is Samsung from Korea. One of its businesses that it's active in is medical equipment. The next business, which is very different, is mobile phone devices. And it could be that you're watching this video from a Samsung device. And the last business that I want to highlight is heavy-duty cranes. So they actually produce these cranes that are used in harbors to lift heavy cargo. The key point here is that it's one firm, but they're active in multiple businesses, and those businesses might be quite different from each other. So as examples, I picked some of the world's biggest multi-business firms. But of course, many other multi-business firms are much smaller. But why should any of these firms have a corporate strategy? Wouldn't it be sufficient for them to have different strategies for each business? Let's think about Samsung. Wouldn't it be sufficient for them to have just one strategy for its medical devices, another strategy for its mobile phone business, and yet a third strategy for its heavy cranes business? Why would they need a corporate strategy? Here's a question for you. Does the performance of a business vary more by its industry or by its corporation? Let's think about Samsung's business, and in particular, the mobile phone business. Let's say we have earnings figures over the last 10 years. Naturally, these earnings figures are going to go up and down. They will vary over time. But will they vary more by its industry, that is, other mobile phone businesses not part of Samsung, or will they vary more by the corporation? That is, will they vary more by the performance of other businesses within Samsung, but not in mobile phone business? What do you think? This is a difficult question to answer without data. I've just published a study for which I had access to lots of data. I had access to the research done on this topic for the last 20 years. And it's a meta-analysis, which means it's a study of studies. So it aggregates the findings of thousands of industries and thousands of corporations. And the results are clear. Industry and corporation both matter, but corporation matters even more. Let's look at the results. Here are the results. What you see on the vertical axis is the explained variance in performance of a business. And then what is shown, how much each of these factors accounts for that variance. So what you can see is that industry in total accounts for 8% of that variance, whereas corporation does so even more, 14% in total. What does it mean for us? Well, if we want our businesses to do well, it means that we should consider the corporation's perspective, and in particular, its corporate strategy. Let's look a bit in more detail what corporate strategy is.